welcome to another section on my website design tutorial. Do you actually want to build a professional website from scratch without any basic knowledge of HTML, CSS, or JavaScript, or you don't even understand any of the syntax? You have actually been watching some of YouTube videos, but all you just do is copy and paste and you don't understand a single line of the code. Alright, I say congratulations, because in this video I'm going to be explaining each line of code as I write and as you move along with me. So this particular video or course is actually for absolute beginners, I mean dummies who has no experience on front-end web development. And in today's video tutorial we are going to be designing a responsive header, which is the first part of the website, and after this we proceed to other section of our website design. Alright, so if you're just seeing this channel and you're yet to subscribe, please hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on my new videos and important informations. Alright, so in the last video I actually mentioned that you should install some of these tools, and number one tool that you need to install is Visual Studio. So if you are yet to install this this software, please go and watch the video, which link is available in the video description, so that you can go along with us. Alright, so when you open your Visual Studio editor, this is what you have, just a screen like this. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is I want to start a new project. So to make my work easier, I'm going to start by opening a new folder. So let's just click on open folder here. Alright, so I'm going to focus on desktop now so that it will be easy for you to navigate on your own screen also. Then in folder, I want to create a new tutorial. I want to create a new folder, sorry. So I'll call it January 2025. Let me just put it away. So then I'm going to select this folder, and this will be opened in Visual Studio for me. You can see this folder is opened and there's nothing. So make sure that you trust this folder so that you don't have that prompt again. Alright, so now I want to create our files inside this folder. So the first thing I will do is, excuse me please, I need to add another folder inside this folder, which is the folder for images. This is where I will have all my images. Then I will create 3 different files. The first file is index.html, which is the file that will show our home page. Then the next file is style.css, which should be for our styling to make our website look more attractive. And the last one is script.js. That is the JavaScript file that we use to make our website more responsive. Thank you. Alright, now let's get started with index.html. Now, if I need to create a website, I will need to start writing all the lines of code. I will start with the HTML, which is the fundamental part of every website, and every of my code will be inside this HTML. But I will be saving us a lot of time in this tutorial, and I will just be introducing us to some shortcuts that will save us a lot of time. So I will not start with this one. So what I will just do is I'll clear this off and press Shift 1. That's if 1 is for exclamation mark on your system. So then I'll hit the enter button. It will write the basic HTML code for me, and all I just have to do is just do some little tweak, and I can actually even leave this and continue from here. So this will save you a lot of time having to type the code from the beginning, having to type line by line. Okay, now the next part I'm going to is to explaining what we have on screen one by one. You'll be like, what is doc type HTML, what is HTML lang, and all of this. Let's start with this. Now that first line is telling us, or is telling the browser, that the document type that we are working on is HTML5. That is what that first line is actually talking about. So the doc type HTML, it tells the browser that the document is written in HTML5. Okay, why this other line HTML, that is hypertext markup language, this line is telling us that the language that we are using here basically is English. That is what that is saying. Then this head contains meta information about the document, that is about our website, like the title, like the link, and so many other things, style sheet, script, and so many things. So this is where we have all meta information about our site description, website description, so many information. This is where we have them in the header section. All right, now let's move to the title. This title, I will explain this when we view our what's it called, our code on the browser. So I'll really explain this in depth. So the next thing is the body. This body is the area that contains all the visible content on your website, all the text, all the images, all the link, the videos, multimedias, or whatever. So this is where it will be. So if I decide to save this code, for example, now, and don't forget I asked you to install live server while I was preparing in my first video. Yes, in my first video I said you should install live server, this one. So that saves you a lot of time having to refresh your browser every time you make changes. So all I just have to click on is click on this go live at the bottom here, then it will open this in my browser. So let's see. Okay, so this is loading. Now this has fully loaded. You can see that we can see nothing on our screen, but this is where we now have this title document. So if I go back to my editor and change this document to responsive header, and I save, you see that this has changed immediately. So, and if I go to this body part and type in you see that I have this in my body. So the body is the area that contains the visible content of your website. All right, so having said that, let's get on with our code. Okay. Now okay, before I proceed, let me quickly remove this and let's begin with what we need to design for today. So inside our body, the first tag we want to have is our header. Now the conventional way of doing this is I'll open my brace bracket, then I'll type header, I'll close it, and the header will close. Then I'll come back inside this header and say class. The reason why we are adding a class is so that we'll be able to style the header. We'll be able to customize the header, but that is a long method. I don't want to do it that way. So how do we go about doing it and saving time? So I want to have my header, so I'll type header, then I'll type dot. Dot means that I'm assigning a class to it. So the class I'm assigning to it is header. So it has saved me stress instead of having to first create it, then assign a class. So I did that just once. All right, so now inside this header we are going to have a container that will contain the logo, the navigational menu, and the the click to action button, then the navigation, the hamburger icon. All right, let's just proceed so that you understand what I'm saying. So the first thing I want to do is I want to have a container. So I'll say div dot container, which means that I'm having a container which is actually represented by a div. So then I'm assigning a class to it called container. So inside this particular div is where all the content of my header will be. So I can put a particular what's it called, comment here that this line. Okay, so I can just put it here that this line is for my header container. So then I can also put it here that header container ends here. So we know that everything from here to here is my header container, and everything we have there are the header file. Excuse me. So the first thing I'm going to have inside my header container is an image. So that is my logo. So I'm going to say another div dot logo image. Okay, so inside this container I'm going to have my image. Image is represented by this img. So I want to this source implies that where are you picking your image for. Remember, in our file structure we have this image folder, but unfortunately we don't have any image there right now. So I'm going to add an image to that folder. Okay, so let me quickly just copy an image to that folder. Okay, for now let me just make use of this particular one. there's been a mistake. All this code are supposed to be outside the image, not inside the image. They're supposed to be outside. So this is what we just do from here. All I'll do is, okay, let me quickly save this. Sorry for that mistake. Come back to this folder here, and I'll move all of this code outside of the image folder. So just cut them out and paste them here. Yeah, so it is fine now. So this has been adjusted here also. So if I close my image folder, I can still see my codes. So let me just quickly do this. Okay, so now we are fine. So now we have an image file inside the image folder. So now I can call that image here. This is the source. So I can say it's inside the image folder. You can see that this is showing this folder already, and it's showing the file that is there. So images. So I've saved this. So this will become unavailable since I have changed my directory. So let's just go back and to this area and refresh this page. So I'll be able to go live again. Let me stop live server for now, and I'll go live again. Okay, yeah, good. So we have the image here, though it's very small, but we can adjust that later. Okay. Now the next thing we want to do is, now we have our image inside our container. The next thing we want to have is our navigational menu. So we are going to have our navigational menu inside and our hamburger button. Okay, so let me give space and say this is our navigational, oh sorry, okay. For our navigational menu, we use the nav tag. So I'll say nav, and I'm applying a class called nav menu, since that will represent our nav menu. So I'm giving it a class called nav menu. So inside it now, I want to have my home, link, about, services, contact us, blog, and all of that. So let's just say I have a, and here I have, I'm putting hash inside this href because I don't want it to actually link to any page presently. Okay, now let me explain this. This is an anchor tag. It is used to link a particular document or text to a particular page. So what we are linking presently is the home, but right now we have hash here, which means that we are not linking it to anything. So, but if I'm linking it to another page, maybe home page, for example, I can put there home.html or index.html, which means that it will have to reload that page. But since I don't want it to reload that page, I'll just use hash for now. Okay, now I'm going to have about, services, contact, and blog page. So I'll just do Shift Alt and button down, and I'll duplicate this as for the number of times that I want. So all I'll just do is I'll just change this text here to about, to services, and to contact us, and lastly to blog page. Okay, in that way I've saved myself a lot of time. So when I click on save, you see that we have that here in our view. So now let's return back. So we have our navigational menu already. Excuse me. So the next thing I want to have is my click to action button. So let me just comment that also, so that you know what that section is for. So I'm having my CTA click to action button, and inside that click to action button, I'm going to have a container, and I'm going to call it CTA button. Okay, so inside that container, I want to have a phone number. So for example, I'm not linking it to anything for now, so I'll just put hash there. Okay, I will link it so that when user click on that telephone number, it will dial this number that I have here. So let me just put it away. So I'll copy this number because I need this number. All right, so now here what I want to show on the front end, because if I save this, nothing shows. So I want a text, this phone number, to be showing on the front end. So you can see this number is now showing here. Then the next thing I want to show is under this text, I want to show another text. Okay, and what I want to show there is, this is for call and WhatsApp. So WhatsApp and call line. Okay, good. I saved that, and if you look back here, you see that this is already available here. Don't worry, we will adjust it and make it look more beautiful. So the last thing I want to add is let me comment this out again. That is our toggle menu, or let me just say hamburger icon. So here I'm going to be having my hamburger icon. So it's going to be inside another container again. So I'll give it a class called hamburger. So inside that class, I want to have my icon. There are 3 ways to go about having this icon, and I'll show us the 3 ways. Whichever one you prefer, you go with it. But the first option I'm going to be using does not always work. But if it works for you, good. Alright, the first method is writing this short code, hash and ampersand hash 9776. Then this. So when I save, you'll see that I have this icon here. I have it here already. Alright, so that's the first method. The second method is going to Google Fonts and clicking on these Google Font icons. So just come here to Google Material Symbols. Okay, so we are going to look for that icon, which is this menu icon. So I'll just click on this menu icon and I will download it as SVG. You can actually download it as PNG too. Both of them works. So I'm going to download that as the two so that you see how I go about using either SVG or PNG. So let's download this, and I also download as PNG. Then the next one I want to download is this close button. So I'll download this as SVG and as PNG also. Okay, now let me click on add those 2 files to my image folder. So I'll go back to my image folder and make sure that I have those files in my image folder. Okay, so these are the 4 files. So I'll just link them to here. So to make it easier, this one is close. So I'll just call it close menu. And this also close menu icon. Excuse me. This is menu, and this is menu icon. So these ones are the SVG file, these are the image file. So I'm going to see we'll look at how to use these together in our code. All right, for now we just leave it and focus on the first one that we use, which is this short code, and later we look at how to change that short code to PNG, that is image file, or the other. Okay, for now let's stick with what we have, which is this one. So but if you are working on this, okay, let me just quickly add another. So let me call it div dot menu icon, for the sake of those that this short code did not work for. So let's just use what's it called, one of those images. So I'll just say image, then the source will be images. Then I can use, since it is menu, I can use any of these 2 menu icons. This one is the SVG file, this one is the PNG. So let me just take the PNG for now, and I will just change this to menu icon. Okay, so if you look at it, I chose the close one, not the close one. Sorry, I don't mean to use this one. Menu, okay, menu. So you can see we have this now, but it is very big. We can customize that, so that's not a problem. So if you are having this, or if this works for you, let's just stick with this for now. Excuse me. So for now, I'll just comment this other one I added. I'll just comment it out since I won't be using it. All right, so now we have our site logo, our navigational menu, the click to action area, and the navigation bar, but they are all looking very bad. So what we need to do is we need to go and open this style.css and begin to style them to make them look more better. So I'm going to go to my style sheet. So the first thing I want to do in my in my style sheet file is to start writing some rules. And the first rule I'm going to have here is general reset rule. Now you ask me, what does this do, or what this does? Now what this does actually is, for every time you open your website on a browser, for example, if you look at my browser, you look at towards this end, there is a margin, and this applies to both left, right, up and bottom right and all of that. So I don't want this margin because it will unnecessarily increase the size of my web page. So I don't need this extra margin here. So all I just have to do is I have to come back here under this general settings. Excuse me, I'll set the margin to 0. The margin is, because you have to ask, what's margin? Margin is the space outside an element, outside the container, while padding is the space inside. By the time we get there, I'll explain better. So once I save this line, you see that I'll set my padding also to 0. Then box sizing to border box. So this is the first line of code that I'll be having, so I can restore this back. Okay. Oh, I have not linked this style sheets to my HTML code, so we have to link them under the header. Inside this header, we have to link them. That is why all those 3 lines of code did not even remove this margin. So what I have to do is I have to come here and say link. So I'm linking to this script, this style file. So I'll just say style. You can see it's showing it already, and save. Then you can see that this extra spacing on my web page has been removed. This is starting exactly from the start page, from the end of the screen. All right, so now let's proceed back to our code, our styling. So the next line of code we want to write is our body. Remember I told you that the body is the physical part of a website. So we want to style the body. The first thing we want to do is we want to assign the fonts that we'll be using for our website. We want to change all of these fonts that you're seeing. So for now, I'll just use Arial, and I'll also use Lucida Sans. Then I'll also use what other font do I want to use? Sans serif. And lastly, I want to use okay. So these are the fonts I will be using basically. And you ask me what's the reason for having all of this line of fonts available in my body. What I basically state here is that for all of the text here, the browser should use Arial or Lucida Sans or Sans serif or Georgia, depending on the one that is installed on my system. So it picks the one that it's come across first. Okay, so the next line I want to add here is line height. The spacing between the height of text, I'll set it to 1.6 for now. Okay, all right, so let's go on from here. All right, the next thing I want to move on to now is to focus on my header. If you look at my header, you see that my header is not looking responsive at all. It's not looking okay. So I'll go back here and say header and I'm going to have this code for my header. First off, in my header, I'm going to set the background color to white. I don't want any other color aside white, which is FFF. Then the next thing is I want to give it a border bottom, and I'm going to set it to 1 pixel. This is talking about the thickness of the bottom line. Solid, and I'm going to apply this gray color, DDD. So I'll click on save, and that is this line that you're seeing here. So what this simply means is that I'm applying a bottom line to my header, which is this line you're seeing here. The thickness is 1 pixel. If I set these pixels to 8 pixels, you can see how thick this has become. So that is talking about the thickness of that line. And this is defining that we are applying a color fill inside that line. That is what you have there. All right, so now let's move on. So the next thing we want to focus on is we have styled this header. So the next thing is this container. We want to be able to style this container so that everything looks more better. So let's get back to the styling, and I'm going to have dots container. Then you ask me, why am I starting with a dot? Whenever you are referencing a style, a class, you start with dots. Assuming I have used an ID, I will start with the Afansan side, that is hash code. But since I'm using a class, for this tutorial, I'll focus mainly on class. So I'll use dot container. So the first thing I want to do under the container is I'm setting a maximum size, maximum width rather, to 1040 pixels. Okay, I'll save that. Then I'm going to apply a background color, and that will be hash F7FA FD. That is some kind of blue background. Okay, I want to add a width to this header, and that is 1000 pixels. Okay, good, you're getting there. All right, so let's proceed with our container. The next thing I want to do is margin 0 or 2. What that means is that margin top and bottom, I set them to 0. Then left and right, it automatically adjusts my content to fit in their place. So that is what that says. Okay, the next thing is I want to make sure that the content are spaced around. Justify content space between. Okay, then how do I want to display this item? I want to display them all on a straight line instead of this way that they are stacked over each other. So just come back here and say display, and I'll set it to flex. So if you look at this now, we have them on a straight line, but you see that some of them has been cut off, and that's the reason. That's because excuse me please, because of the line and the size that I have defined for each of them. But don't worry, we'll fix that. So now that I've set that to, so I want to give it a padding, so I'm giving it padding, and okay, so then the last thing I want to do is, I think that is all I want to fix for now. Okay, so I will style this later so that it's not too big for the browse page. Okay, I'm resizing my screen so that you can see. I zoom up my screen so that you can see what I'm doing before. So you can see this is what we have. All right, so sorry, I'm going to remove this header width. I don't want this line, sorry. Okay, so in this way now everything is centralized. You can see that this is centralized. All right, now let's move to the next thing we want to focus on now is our logo. Our logo is too small. Our navigational menu, they are too jam-packed together, and this is not how we want it to be. Then this is also too small. So let's focus on this one after the other. So I'll start with the logo image. So let's start with the logo image. Let's see the name of the class assigned to logo image. This is the class assigned to it, this one here. So I'll come back here and say dot logo image. Okay, so what do we want to do under the logo image? One, we want to set the height to 30 pixels. Okay, then I want to add nothing else. So now let me focus on my menu. The next thing I want to focus on is this nav menu here. So then I'll target all this anchor text, which is A. So I'll come back to nav menu dot nav menu. So I'm going to say the anchor text. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I remove all of the underline that are there. That is this underline that you're seeing here. So to do that, I will set the text decoration to none, and you can see that all the underline are not there. Okay, that's one. Then the next thing is I want to set the color for my text. I don't want that default color for anchor, which is this one. So I want to be able to use my own color. So I'll say color, and I'm going to be using #24. So this is the color I'll be using. Then the next thing I want to also do is I want to set the font size to 0.5. Sorry, let me use 0.8. And okay, now you ask me what is the 0.8 rem. By default on every browser, the font size is 16 pixels. So now if I set my font to 0.8, it means that I'll be having this now, which is 0.8 times 16. So that means my font size has been set to 12.8. So if I set it to 0.9, it means that it will be 0.9 times 16. So that is just what that is about. So that is that. So you can see that if I zoom, this has changed also. So now let's focus on the other part. Now when user, now let's focus on this hamburger before I come here. It's too small for me. So I'll go over and say hamburger. Oh, sorry, dot hamburger. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is before I write this first line, let me just quickly do this. I want to set the font size to 1.5 rem. You can see that it has become bigger. Then the next thing I want to also do is I want to set the color of my icon to that same color we declared earlier. Then I want to give it a padding of 3 pixels, that is top and bottom, 10 pixels left and right. Okay. Okay. Then I want to apply a background color. No, okay, I don't want to do that on the desktop version, so let me just leave that. Okay, yeah, let me just apply a background color. A background color of this color. Okay, so I'll change this color now to white, this FFF. So in that way, this is what I have. You can see this is what I have initially, but I think I want to do the reverse. Yes, so I don't want to do that. I want it to be this way. Then I want to add a border around it, and the border will be just 1 pixel thick, solid, and I'm going to be adding this color. Just that I'll make this color light. Yeah. So this is what I'm having now. This is what I'm having by default. All right, so that has been sorted also. Now when user move their mouse over the hamburger, when user move their mouse, so I'll just put semicolon, then over. Over means when you move mouse over it. What do I want to do? I want some things to change. First, I want to change the background color to the color we have declared, this. Then next, I want to change the icon color to white. So now let's see how that works. You can see, so when you move your mouse over this, it's changed to whatever we have declared under this over action. All right, before I proceed, I also want to focus on this nav menu. So let's quickly go back there. So when user hover over this nav menu, .nav menu a tag, when user hover over it, what happens? So we want to have this to the to that part. So first off, I want to change the background to this color. Then I want to give a padding. Let's see what padding we can give. Top and bottom 5 pixels, left and right 15 pixels. Let's see. And want to change our font color to white. Let's see how that goes. Okay, for now this is what we're having, but the spaces are too jam-packed. Here, sorry. I want to add some margins. I need to add some margin because these texts are too close together. So I'll add margin in this manner, 15 pixels to the top and bottom, and 0. Sorry, I need to switch that rather. So you can see that they are now spacing around each of them now. There are now spaces around them, so they are not too jam-packed like they had before. All right, so that has been fixed also. Okay. All right, so the next thing we need to focus on is this click to action button. So let's quickly solve that one. So I'll come down here again. Let me say click to action button. So now let's code that. So we have .cta. Let's see the class we apply to that actually. CTA btn. So now what's the first thing we want to do? We want to apply a background color. So let me just say background, and the background color I'll be using is EBE DEE. So let me just leave that. And the next thing I want to do is add a border radius so that we can see that part. And I'm going to add a border radius of 120 pixels. This will make the edge, this edge to be curved. You can see this curve thing. That is what border radius does. The higher this curve, these pixels that I attach here, that's how curved that will be. If I set it to 4, for example, it will not even be obvious that it is curved. So that's why I set it to 120. Okay. So then the next thing I want to actually add again is I want to add a padding, and the reason for adding padding is you see that this text is too close to the edge of this shape. So I'm just going to go back and say add padding, top and bottom 3 pixels, left and right I'll add 10 pixels, and let's see how that goes. You can see now there's now space within the content, but I don't want this I don't want this call WhatsApp line to be on the same straight line. I want it to break to the next line. So let's go back to our code. So here in my for my phone number, I'll apply a class and I'll call that class call btn so that I'll be able to focus on this. So now I will target my call btn cta this dot call btn. Okay, so now the first thing that I want to do is display inline block. Then the next thing is I want to change the font size 0.9 rem. I've explained that already. And then I want to change the text decoration. I don't want the underline, this underline that is there, I don't want it. So I'll change the text decoration to none. Then I'm going to set a color for that also, which is my default color. And lastly, I'm going to apply font weight. Font weight is what talks about how bold this text will be. So I'm going to assign just 600. Okay, now you can see that this is bold, the underline is gone, and that has been sorted. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is focus on this text WhatsApp line. So I'll come back here to my HTML code, style code, and target that span. You see that it's a span inside this CTA btn. So I'm just going to target that. So I'll say .cta btn. Then I'll target only the span container. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that display is set to block. Then I want to change the font size to 0.7 rem. Yeah, okay, so in that manner you can see what we have now. So I'm going to adjust the padding, inner padding of my click to action button, because what's it called, it is too shocking. So just here, so I'll increase this to 15. You see that it's kind of better now. Okay, all right, so let's go on again. I want to adjust my hamburger. Where is it? Yeah, this is my hamburger. I'll set this to 2 for now. Okay. Let's see what is happening here. I want to balance some few things. Okay, now I see what is happening. All right, good. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is, before that, let's see what we have here. So we now have all of these on a straight line, but one issue we have is that this is jumping towards the upper part, this is jumping down, and we need to fix all of that also, so that they are all centered to that container. So let's go back to our container. Okay, in my container I want to add align items to the center. So in that way all my items are center aligned, as opposed to that way they are jumping before. Now I want to make this background, when you hover over a particular head, I want to make them round edged. So let me go back to my hamburger hover, which is here. I want to add border radius, let's say 45 pixels. Okay. That's not really showing. All right, I'll fix that later. Let's just remove this for now. I'll fix that later. So now our desktop view is actually perfected. We have this complete on our, so I can decide that whenever user hover on this, the text should become more bold. That is here. I can say font weight. I can set it to bold when user hover. So when you hover, the text become bold. So that is that. So now the next thing is, when we look at our mobile view, you see that this is not making any sense at all. It's not making any sense. So the first thing we want to focus on here on the desktop view is that we don't need this icon, this navigational menu on the desktop view. So I'm going to hide that first. So let's take that to the bottom. Okay, yeah, just right here. I'll set the display to none because I don't need it in my desktop view. So you can see that that is hidden, that is gone already. Okay, so whenever you don't want to display an item, you can just set its display to none. Okay, so let me go back to my image file. I don't know why my image file is not responding. So let's set the width to 120 pixels and see something is wrong with my image file, and I think I need to change that. Oh, now I get. Whenever you are targeting an image, you need to actually, let me remove this line first. You need to actually target that image. Sorry, not imagine, this image. Yeah. So without that, nothing, it won't change. You can see the moment I had img to it, my image actually changed. So I can set this back to 20 or 25 pixels, the height, and this is working fine now. Okay, so that's how to go about fixing that. So without this image tag img, I won't be able to target that image. All right, so that has been sorted. Now let's go to the mobile view. So we want to focus on the mobile responsiveness. So let me quickly comment this. Mobile responsiveness. Peradventure, if you have any question to ask after this class, after going through this video, you can drop your question in the comment section, and very soon I will link a website to all of my video where you can actually get all the explanation on the page, or you can download all the resources that I use and all of that to make it easier for you. All right, so the first thing I'm going to target is I'm going to target my tablet design. So when user view on tablet, what should happen? So tablet view. So the first thing I'm going to have is I'm going to have art, media. Then I'm going to set the screen size for my tablet. What's the screen size for my tablet? And that is anything from 840 pixels upward. Okay, so what should happen when user view on tablet? So the first thing I want to do is I want to set my nav menu, which is all this link when they are on tablets, because the screen of tablet is not that wide like this. So in fact, I'll select the CTA first. The first thing I want to do is I want to target my CTA button. I'm selecting it to display none. Okay, so that has been settled. So now let me focus on this nav also, nav menu, display none on tablet view. So let's see if that actually works. So this is tablet width, tablet size. You can see whenever it is beyond tablet size, everything is showing. Whenever you adjust it to tablet size, it's not showing. So the next thing is, since we have hidden the nav menu and the click to action button, I want to make sure that my nav menu is showing. Did I say nav menu? Sorry, my hamburger icon. I want to make sure that it is showing. So I'll set that display to block. So let's view again. You can see now this is showing. So which means that on mobile devices, user can make use of the navigational menu to navigate between the menu items. Okay, so that is what I just want to do for tablet view. All right, so the next thing is I want to target mobile view. So let's go for mobile phone view. All right, so I go again, art, media, and what is the size that I'm defining for my mobile phone view? I'll just set this size. .689. Okay, let me just say by weight. 689 pixels, and I'm just going to hide all this as well. So just have this, the same thing. So the same rule applied to that mobile view. So that is that. So then I'm going to add some other customization here for my nav menu. The first thing I want to do is, you can see that our menu is not displaying on mobile view. So I'll say nav menu, the display here is none, which means that we are not showing the nav menu. So what this actually means is that we are initially hiding the navigational menu. So initially it is hidden. That is what that means. So then flex direction, how do we want to display it? I'll set it to column, which means that they are stacked vertically. Sorry. Okay. And the next thing I want to do also is I want to position it to fixed. Position fixed. Okay. Then what do I want to add again? Top. I don't want any spacing at the top of it. I want it to start from the top of the page. Then from the right, I want it to enter from the right with animation. So I'm going to put -100%. Okay. What that does is it starts from the right end. By the time we apply our JavaScript, you understand what I'm saying now. So let's just have that. Then the next thing I want to do is I want to change the background color for my mobile menu to this color we have defined, and we will change other things like, okay, background color. Then let's add some padding so that it will not be too shocking, to 20 pixels. Animation effect, that is transition. I'm going to add animation from the right. Then it's going to display for 3 seconds, animate for 0.3 seconds, and the effect I want to use is in. So that is that. What else do I want to do? I think that's that. Then I want to bring it to the top of the page. By venture, we have a lot of content on our website, so I want to make sure that it is to the front of the page. So I'll set it to 1000 for now, and you understand that by the time I'm customizing other parts of my code. All right, so the next thing I want to target now is my navigational links, so which is .nav a. I'm targeting the links now. So I want to set the color of my links. Since I've set the background to deep navy blue, so I'm setting my text color to white. Oh yeah, I can use white in that way, or I can use the hexadecimal code we are using, which is, sorry, FFF. Either one will work. Okay, so then I want to set my font size to 16, so which is equivalent to 1 rem. Then I want to also have a margin. Sorry, margin. I'm having 15 pixels. That is for top and bottom, and 0 for left and right. Okay, then the next thing I want to have is also my padding. Let me add some padding here. Okay, so let me just leave that for now. So the next thing, okay, let me add width of this navigational menu. I'm setting it to fit content, so they will not be bigger than the size of the content in there. So the last thing I want to add here, is on hover. When you hover on the navigational icon on the mobile view, what happens when you hover? So let me just set that. .nav menu a. We have actually set for desktop the other time. Okay, for now I'll just leave this out. Let's take this last one, .nav menu .open. This is the part that we'll call in our JavaScript part that will allow our navigational menu to show on mobile. Okay, and let's take right 0. Now going back to our mobile view and we refresh, you can see that we are not seeing anything. When you click on this, nothing happens. So we need to make sure that we so whenever when this is called, it allows the navigational menu to actually open. All right, so the next thing I want to focus is the hamburger. For now, we even leave that. So now let's go to our JavaScript, which is this script file. So inside here, we are going to write some lines of code. So the first thing I want to do is I want to be able to select my hamburger on mobile device and navigational menu. Okay, let me just put this line of code to explain what I'm talking about. So the next line of code I'll be writing will select the hamburger. Okay, so I'm going to declare a variable. We use the word const to declare a variable. Variable is like a storage location. So I'll be keeping something inside this location, which is hamburger. So I'm assigning to the document dot query selected selector. This will select the class in my code, the class called hamburger. Okay, all right, cool. Shift Alt down. So I'm assigning another one for the navigational menu, nav menu, and this will target the navigational menu, which is nav menu. Okay, now let me quickly explain this two line before I proceed. What I want to do is on the mobile view, when user click on this what's it called, navigational icon, I am assigning a JavaScript to it to know when this is clicked and when this is not clicked. So that is basically what I am doing. So let's go back to our code. Okay, so now when user click, I'm adding an event listener. By the time we get to our Android development class, you understand this better, what event listener means. It means it listens to an action that is performed on a particular object. So that is what event listener is about. So hamburger, which has been declared, this one, dot, we are assigning an event listener to it to listen to click actions. So I'll write click. Sorry. Okay. So whenever click is performed on that, we want to toggle the open class in our CSS, which is this class that I defined here, this one here. Okay. So when that is clicked, I want to have let me say toggle. I'm only putting this comment so that you understand each line of my code. Okay, so with that set, so I'm going to have nav menu, which has been declared, dot class list dot toggle. Then I'm going to have open. Okay, so that is sorted. Oh, sorry, I've made a mistake here. It's supposed to be this here. Yeah. Close, yeah. Okay, let me explain all this again. The first is I assign a constant, a variable name, hamburger, and then I link it to my hamburger in my HTML file. Then I also have the nav menu. I assign this constant so that I'll be able to call them here. You can see here now I am not using this nav underscore hyphen menu again. I'm using, because I have assigned this to this constant and assigned this to this constant. So I'm just calling them directly in my code. So that is just what I did. And the main reason is that so that in my front end, when user click on the hamburger, it should be able to display the menu here, and whenever they move out of it, it should be able to close that menu. So that is the reason for having that in my code. So let's proceed with our coding. All right, now let's go back to our mobile menu. You can see when I click on this now, nothing happened. The reason is because in our HTML file, we have not linked this script to our HTML. So I'll just come here right before the closing of the body tag, and I'll type in script. Then I'll just say source for my script is script.js, and I'll click on save. So now let's go back here, and you can see this is showing. Okay, one thing I have not done here is I have not fixed size for my navigational menu. You can see I need to add a size to them. Okay, I think I know what is happening here. So let's go back to our CSS. In our CSS, we want to apply a style here. Okay, I want to assign a width to my what's it called? So I want to have 250 pixels as my width. So now if I go back to my view, you can see that this is now kind of wide. So if I extend this, you can see this is now wider. Okay. Also, I want to set my height also to 100%, which means that it will be full screen. So when I go back here, you see that this is now full screen. Excuse me, please. So with that, now I have that set. Okay, top 0 right, -100. All right, so let me go back again. And okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to include the navigational icon here, right here. So let's go back to hamburger icon. That's my hamburger here. Okay, here. So let me fix this hamburger. Okay, then I want to set the color to let's use something white. Okay, let's use this for now. And the next thing I want to do is cursor, the kind of cursor that will show there. Now if I go back here, and you will see that my hamburger is not showing. The reason is because this hamburger container is at the top of everything on this page. So for me to bring my hamburger icon to the top of this also, I will have to give it a Z index that is higher than this 1000. So I have to apply a Z index of, let's say, maybe 11 to this. So in that way, this is coming up, you can see. So now I can have this. So but if I give it a hamburger value that a Z index value that is lesser than this, it will not come up, but it has to be higher than that particular one. Even a 1005 should do, because it's still higher than 1000. So you can see, you can see this is working. So that is how to go about that. So now we have our navigational menu responsive on mobile device. When you go back to desktop view, we have it fine. When you navigate to mobile view, we have it in this way. It's okay. So you can see, so the close and open works fine. All right, so if you find this tutorial very helpful and you would like me to create more, please like this video and share with your friends, and do have a wonderful time. In the subsequent time, so if you find this video very helpful, please hit the subscribe button. I'll be taking my time to create beginner focused content for you. Oh, before I go, I need to adjust some things here. On hover, when user hover over the navigational item, I want to have something to show that this is where I am, this is where I am. So this is not really making sense. So let's go back to our navigational menu. So here, I'm going to have navigational menu hover dot nav menu a hover. Okay, the first thing is I want to apply a background color of white. Yeah, white. So let me just use white. Then I'm going to have the color of my links. So this default color. Then let's see for now. Can you see what I have? So in this way, I know where I am presently. So it's better in this manner rather than just moving and not knowing where you are. So this is kind of better. So then I can close this and move along. And this does not affect our mobile desktop view at all, as you can see. All right, so with this, I think you have a sound knowledge of HTML and CSS, that is understanding how we code and how we style. Let me just take a recap of everything we did. We have, in this first class, we created a responsive mobile menu. You wonder why this is a 1 hour video, despite the fact that we are only creating an header. Yet the reason is because I take my time to explain step by step. If I was just going all along coding and you don't understand, then this would be a 20 minutes video. But because I wanted to have a sound knowledge of what you are coding, and that is why I take my time to actually explain, and that's why we have this long video. So if you find this very helpful, please smash the subscribe button. Make sure that you turn on your notification bell so that you get update from me whenever I drop a new video for absolute beginner. In my next video, I'll be creating a video on how to start developing an Android apps that perfectly works. All right, so stay tuned. Thank you. Love you all, and do have a wonderful time. Bye.